Hey everyone, and welcome back to MIT Scare. Today we are diving into a hauntingly beautiful yet tragically poignant piece of poetry, Charles Kingsley's The Sands of Dee. This isn't just a poem, it's a ballad that tells a story and one that resonates with the raw, untamed power of nature and the enduring nature of sorrow. Whether you are starting it for school like SSC level or simply love exploring classic literature, you are in the right place. We'll uncover its themes, break it down stage by stage, and learn a bit about the remarkable man behind these words. So, grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's unravel the sands of D. Before we get into the poem itself, let's talk about the mind that crafted it, Charles Kingsley. He was much more than just a poet. Born on June 12, 1819, in Holland, Devon, England, and passing away on January 23, 1875. Kingsley was a true Victorian polymath. He was an Anglican priest, a university professor, a social reformer, a historian, and a novelist. This blend of roles gave him a unique perspective on life, faith, and the human condition. Notably, Kingsley was a key figure in the Christian socialist movement. He was deeply concerned with the plight of the working class during the Industrial Revolution, advocating for their improved conditions. This social conscience, while not always explicit, often underpins his literary works, even those seemingly simple tales. You might know him from his famous children's fantasy, The Water Babies, or his historical novel, Westward Ho. But today we are focusing on his poetic prowess, particularly his skill in crafting powerful ballads like The Sands of Dee. His ability to combine vivid storytelling with deeper moral or emotional undertones is truly remarkable. Now, let's get to the core of the poem, The Sands of Dee. Its central themes, while it tells a straightforward tragic story, it delves into several profound ideas. The unforgiving power of nature, man versus nature. This is perhaps the most dominant theme. The poem starkly portrays nature, specifically the sea and the tide, not as beautiful and benevolent, but as indifferent, wild, and ultimately destructive. Mary, an innocent human, is tragically overwhelmed by its forces. It's a powerful reminder of humanity's vulnerability in the face of primal natural elements. Loss of innocence and youth. Mary is a young girl carrying out a simple pastoral task. Her untimely death highlights the fragility of life and how innocence can be tragically snuffed out. It evokes a deep sense of pathos and regret. The persistence of memory and grief. Even after Mary's physical death, her presence lingers on the sands of Dee. The fishermen continue to hear her ghostly cries. This speaks to the enduring nature of grief, the way a tragedy can leave an indelible mark on both a place and the collective memory of those who witnessed it. It also introduces a classic ballad element, the restless spirit, fate, and helplessness. There's a strong sense of inevitability in Mary's fate. Despite her simple duty, she is caught in an inescapable natural trap. Her death feels preordained by the wild west wind and the hungry sea, suggesting that some forces are simply beyond human control. Alright, let's break down this beautiful but tragic ballad stanza by stanza. Pay close attention to Kingsley's word choices and how they build the narrative and the mood. Stanza 1, and look at this screen. Oh, Mary, go and call the kettle home, and call the kettle home, and call the kettle home across the sands of Dee. The western wind was wild and dank and cold, and all the waves were grey with foam. The poem opens with a seemingly innocuous instruction: "Oh, Mary, go and call the kettle home." This repeated phrase, almost a refrain, immediately establishes Mary's task and a simple pastoral setting. But notice the shift in the next lines: the western wind was wild and dank and cold, and all the waves were grey with foam. Kingsley wastes no time introducing the ominous elements. The wind isn't just a breeze, it's wild and dank and cold, setting a chilling tone. The grey waves with foam hint at tumultuous, perhaps dangerous sea. This simplicity of Mary's task is immediately contrasted with the harshness of the environment. The western tide crept up along the sand, and over the sand, and around the sand, as far as I could see. The rolling mist came down and hid the land, and never home came she. This stanza vividly depicts the relentless advance of the tide. The repetition of and over the sound and around the sound mimics the insidious, circling movement of the water trapping Mary. The rolling mist adds to the sense of disorientation and increasing doom, symbolizing how Mary is being consumed by the elements. The devastating final line, "and never home came she," delivers the tragic news directly and powerfully, leaving no doubt about her fate. Oh, is it weed or fish, or floating here, a trace of golden here, a drowned maidens here, above the nets at sea, was never someone yet that shone so fair among these takes of tea. Here the focus shifts to the aftermath and the search of our Mary. The questions, "Oh, is it weed or fish or floating here?" convey the grim reality of finding a body lost at sea. The repetition of here emphasizes the personal nature of the discovery. It's not just a body, but Mary's golden hair. This line was never Salmon, yet that shone so fair. Or among the sticks of Dee, introduce a poignant comparison, highlighting Mary's beauty and purity, suggesting her innocence contrasted with the harshness of her death. This also links her directly to the natural world she was a part of. They rode her in across the rolling foam, the quail crawling foam, the quail hungry foam, to her gate beside the sea. But still the boatmen hear her call the kettle home across the sands of Dee. This final stanza brings the narrative to a chilling conclusion. They rode her in across the rolling foam. It describes the retrieval of her body. But the repeated phrase, "the quail crawling foam, the quail hungry foam," personifies the sea as a malicious, predatory entity that deliberately took her. The alliteration here is particularly effective in emphasizing the harshness. The final two lines introduce the enduring supernatural element. But still the boatmen hear her call the kettle home across the sands of sea. This suggests that Mary's spirit is restless, forever bound to the place of her death. Her tragic cry echoing across the treacherous sands. It underscores the lasting impact of her loss and the poem's connection to folklore. So, what are our key takeaways from the Sands of Dee? Nature's indifference. The poem perfectly illustrates the indifferent and often destructive force of nature, particularly the sea. Tragedy and loss. It's a profound exploration of grief and the sorrow of a life cut out, of a life cut short. Lyrical beauty with a dark undercurrent. Despite its tragic subject matter, Kingsley's use of language, repetition, and imagery creates a poem of significant lyrical beauty. Enduring legacy. The haunting image of Mary's ghost ensures her story and the dangers of Dee remain etched in the reader's mind. And there you have it, The Sands of Dee, a poem that reminds us of nature's awesome power and the lasting echo of a young life tragically lost. Charles Kingsley's masterful use of the ballad form, vivid imagery, and poignant themes ensures this poem continues to resonate with readers today. What did you think of The Sands of Dee? Did it evoke a strong emotion in you? Let me know in comments below. I love hearing your interpretations and thoughts. If you enjoyed this analysis, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with fellow poetry lovers, and don't forget to subscribe to MIT Skill for more literary explorations. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.